bubblegum tree, Rui. Well, this goes back, Gracie, to the late 50s, right? You have to take your mind back, sweetie, to the late 50s. Now, at that time, England had a lot of people out in Malaysia, out around the Philippines, because you know there'd been a war, you see, and they still had a lot of soldiers there. Now, what they used to do is, because America and England, and obviously a lot of places in Europe, Rui, you see, they were short of rubber, Gracie, and then they used to send every day, obviously, the posh people in Malaysia. They had all these plantations, a bit like the cotton fields, I guess, in down south USA. And they used to hire these little people, you know, day in, day out, and then get to work, go to work. And anyway, they'd get them. And what they used to do, really, they had these little special knives called bastoons. It's a word you wouldn't be familiar with. They're called bastoons, and they're very, very sharp blade, really, right? In any case, what they did was, really, they used to go along and they used to slice down the sides of the tree, right, Gracie? Slice down the side of the tree, and all this stuff would come out. You see, and what's this stuff that's coming out of this tree? Well, it was called sap. You see, that's what comes out of the tree. And they thought, oh, what can we do with this stuff? You see, Gracie, because what they thought at the time was that sap that came out of the trees, you see, they used it to make tires. And they sent it off, and all the big companies bought it and thought, oh, what's this stuff doing? Some clever guy one day in his garage, he was sat in his garage, you know, and he thought to himself, I wonder what I can do with this. And he sort of made a little ball out of it, Gracie, right me, on his little bench, and he thought, hey, that's round. What can you do with that? I wonder if I do this and do that, you see. I can make a wheel out of it. Well, he did that, you see, Gracie. He made a wheel out of it, and he put it on his jam jar, on his car, you see. And lo and behold, it worked. And he thought, oh, I can make mucho dollars. Which is exactly what he did, Gracie, right? His name was Dunlop. So he made mucho dollars. And then, anyway, he was happy as a little sandbag, making his millions and millions and millions, Gracie, you see. And he thought, oh, I better go out this plantation one day and see what's going on. So he went out there and he congratulated all the little workers that he was paying a pound per annum, $4 per annum. I thought he was quite well off, really, I guess. And he was paying them this money, Gracie, and one of these little workers, Gunga Singh, that was his name, Gracie, Gunga Singh, because he had a good voice, and that's why they called him that. Anyway, what they did, Gracie, was he was working away, and this little guy, he only had a little, you know, a little shack, Gracie, you know, obviously no bathroom, no toilet, nothing like that. And he you know, he said, Buona, one day he said this to this big boss, Gracie, he said, hey, Buona, can I take a little bit of that stuff home for myself? He said, what you going to do with it? He said, well, you know, I've got this bicycle I was given by one of the British soldiers. It's got nothing on there, and maybe I could just do myself some wheels, you see. In any case, he was doing that, Gracie, right, and he was doing the wheels for the bike, and off he toddled. He went home and he done that for the bike, and he had some spare stuff left, right? And while he was doing that, Gracie, he was very hungry, you see, because he didn't have any dollars. As I said, $4 a year. And the wife was poorly that day, and obviously she couldn't cook. Well, she couldn't cook anyway, Gracie, because they had nothing to cook, and he was so famished and so hungry. This little bit of sap that was there, he thought he would dip it in one. He had some, see, Gracie, he had some spare sugar plants from the man up the road had given him, you see. So he got his little sugar plant, Gracie, and he dipped this little sap into it, right? And he had a taste of it, and he thought, oh, God, that's not too bad. And you see, this is the biggest important part, Gracie, that part there, right? Because when he went, this little bubble appeared, and he said, Mike, what's that? God almighty, that's magic. See, because you got to remember as well, Gracie, that they were very superstitious. And he thought, my God. Oh, wow, it makes a sound when you blow. And he thought, wow, what am I going to call this thing? Well, at the time, you see, Gracie, they had a chimpanzee, and the wife was shouting out to him at the time, Unga Singh, bring Bubbles in here, bring Bubbles in here. See, Gracie, so he thought, Bubbles, that's a good name. Oh, wow, I can call this stuff bubblegum. So anyway, he was eating this stuff, right, Gracie? And as you know, what they used to do out there, you see, what they used to do is, when they want to dye, Gracie, you know, you seen them turtles and tortoises with the beautiful blue backgrounds on them, you know, and the shine in the sun, you know, and they've got all different coloured shells. Well, he thought, well, I wonder if I could colour this. So he went down, he got his hammer, Gracie, right, and he bashed up one of these turtles that you saw, right, and he got the shells, Gracie, and he grinded them down with his little instruments, right, and he got all this blue and green and muddled it all together, and he got this little pieces of sap, Rui, right, and he put the sugar on the sap and he put it in these green things, and said, oh God, I can make different colours. And see, and that's Rui, believe it or not, how bubblegum was born. So what he did then, Rui, was, right, he got this bubblegum sap, right, and he thought, well, I won't tell anyone just yet. I wonder if it grows. Well, what he did was, he got they got special soil out in Malaysia, Rui, that only grows certain times of the year, you see. And he got this special soil, and he hid it. He didn't tell no one, you see, Rui. He put it out in his back garden, and he thought, cause see, Rui, if the Buona had have caught him, obviously that would have been more millions for him, and he didn't want to tell him. And what he did, Rui, was he planted this seed, right, this little piece of sap with the blue bubblegum in it, and he put it on there, and of course he passed away like Rui 15 years later, because it took like 25 years for the tree to grow. But what he did was, he left little notes for his kiddies when they grew up, that this was really important. And when his kiddies grew up, Rui, when they came out the back garden, like, see, there was like 2 or 3 trees with all this bubblegum on. This is how the bubblegum tree was founded, Rui. And what they did was, they thought, wow, it tastes so good, we can make dollars of this. So what they did then, Rui, you see, they just, what they did then, Rui, do you remember the boat people, Rui? Do you remember that? When the boat people that had no money, what they did was, they sort of went under one of these boats from the Philippines, you know, starving and hungry, and taking all they had, Rui, was this information on a piece of paper, how to make the bubblegum tree. And then when they got to America, Gracie, this is going back to 1964, and you're never going to believe this, Rui, but they changed their name to Wrigley, and that's how it was born.